What's up, guys? It's Attila here. I wanted to show you guys my 6K Stam striker build. I've had a lot of people ask me what I run on this build when I stream, and so I figured I would finally make a video to show you guys what I run. I primarily run this build in a group. Um, you can run 6K solo if you want, but I feel like 9K is better. You've got more survivability. You don't have near as much burst damage, but the healing you get back from 9K is a lot better than 6K. Especially if your playstyle is like you like to get up in people's faces and just face tank them, then 9K is probably the way to go. However, 6K is still viable for solo depending on your playstyle. If you play more passive and you know when to pick your fights and when to kind of run and try to choke people and not let people get too close to you, then 6K can work. Anyway, so let's get into this build. I've got stamina rolled on my chest piece with EDR, health, and ammo capacity. This build is my all-out damage, crit chance, crit damage build. So I've got EDR on the chest piece because I want to have some EDR to mitigate the predator bleed. However, I can't really get it anywhere else in the build because I'll either sacrifice crit chance or crit damage. So 11% is better than 0%. Um, and then I've got next on the mask, we've got firearms, crit chance, and disorient resistance. I wish I had disrupt where disorient is, but I had to roll these two, so it is what it is. On the knee pads, we've got firearms again, crit damage, and damage to elites, shock resistance, and disorient. In a perfect world, I wish this would be disrupt, shock, and bleed. Um, damage to elites is better for PvE, but I had to roll these two. So once again, it is what it is. A lot of people would argue, maybe go health on the knee pads, but my particular play style, I like to put out as much damage as possible. So I've actually got crit damage on my knee pads. And as we move on to the backpack, I've got crit damage on the backpack as well, rolled for stamina and ammo capacity. I want ammo capacity on my chest piece and my backpack since I run two ARs on this build. I'm pulling from the same ammo pool, and so I want to have as much ammo capacity as possible. On the gloves, gloves are pretty straightforward. Firearms, assault rifle damage, crit chance, crit damage. Not much new here. On the striker holster, we've got 1401 across the board and crit chance. On a 9K build, I'd probably have skill haste on the holster and skill haste on the gloves with probably no gun damage. As far as the mods go, we've got two firearms crit chance mods. On the mask, we've got a stamina crit chance mod. On the knee pads, we've got another stamina crit chance mod with 6% first aid self heal. On the backpack, we've got another stamina crit chance mod with first aid self heal mods. And then last on the holster, we've got a first aid self heal mod. Now, as far as the guns go, my primary is Lightwood M4 with Unforgiving, Deadly Responsive. In my opinion, these talent combo is the best, or for what I like to run. These three put out a lot of damage. In PvP, you're almost never going to be at full health, so getting these extra damage bonuses from Unforgiving is great. If you're running a crit chance, crit damage based build, I kind of feel like Deadly is a must, in my opinion. Responsive is one of the best multiplicative damage talents in the game. Um, this is really good for SMGs, but it's also quite good for assault rifles as well. As far as the weapon mods go, we've got extended mag with magazine size, crit chance, rate of fire. We've got a hollow sight for the optic with crit chance as the main stat, crit damage and headshot damage. I use a loud vent break for my muzzle with crit damage as the main stat, headshot damage, and crit chance. And for the underbarrel, we've got a small grip with crit damage as the main stat. Um, A lot of people would argue here, why don't you use the suppressor because you get the reduced threat on the suppressor. A lot of people argue that you get more stability with the suppressor. However, in my opinion, I don't know. I've used a loud vent brake and I've used a suppressor, and I just I don't know. I feel like the loud vent brake, even though it does aggro stuff a lot more, um, I feel like it does more damage. And I've used this for so long that I have no problem aiming with it. So this is just my personal preference. I do still think the suppressors are really good though. As far as my secondary goes, I've got an LVOAC for the secondary um, with sustained, predatory, and determined. I specifically use this weapon as a utility weapon. It doesn't do a ton of damage, like my primary, obviously, but having sustained, predatory, and determined is really good for getting your skills back and for getting added healing back to what on top of the healing that you're already getting. With sustained, every target you kill, you get 6% of your health back. Predatory, killing a target, it regenerates 35% of your health over 20 seconds. Now you're already getting regenerated health back from your striker stacks, so you combine that with predatory. It's basically speeding it up by 35%. Determined, every target you kill reduces all your skill cooldowns by 7.5%. I mean, this applies to all your skills, your regular skills and your signature skill. And so if you're constantly popping ults for your team running in a group because, you're fighting a whole server or whatever, you just kill a bunch of NPCs and you get your ult back super quick with Determined. As far as the mods go on the LVOAC, they're basically identical to my primary. I've got another extended mag with magazine size, crit chance, rate of fire. We've got a rugged mini reflex as the optic with crit chance as the main stat, crit damage and headshot damage. On this one, I've got the large suppressor for the muzzle with crit damage again as the main stat, crit chance, headshot damage, and we've got the reduced threat here. And then for the underbarrel, small grip red with crit damage again as the main stat. So, and then on my sidearm, I've got the double barrel sawed off also with predatory, self-preserved. That just kind of I didn't have much say in this right here. But then the main two that I use this for is predatory and determined. So 6K doesn't have as much survivability as the 9K, but your damage output is going to be far greater than the 9K. And then when I combine my secondary with my double barrel sawed off, having predatory and determined and sustained and all that in combination with the healing that I do get back from the 6K, it's actually makes the survivability really good on this. And I still get to keep, all that damage output that I get from this build. And so if we look on the character sheet here, my crit chance is at 32% and my crit damage is at 99% with the LBOAC. Um, I'm just missing some crit damage here as opposed to my primary because I don't have deadly, of course. But it still is very effective. On my primary, we're at about 33% crit chance and 116 crit damage. Base damage is a little bit higher on here because this weapon is fully optimized, whereas my secondary, I believe, needs one more roll to be fully optimized. We move on to the talents. When I run in a group, we usually always have somebody running a pulse. So my particular two skills that I run are immune, which helps counter pred bleed, and the booster, which gives me some extra added armor and some extra damage output. um, as far as the talents go, on the move, reducing incoming damage by 15% for 10 seconds while you kill a target while moving, which in PvP you're almost always moving. Crit save, obviously, every time you pop a med kit, you get more reduced damage. Um, Combat medic is like a must when you're in a group. When you're near your teammates and you pop a med kit, it heals them as well as you. And then strike back, you reach low health and then you get reduced cooldowns on your skills, which is also With Striker, it works. Strike back is really good with Striker because with the way six-piece Striker is now in the current state of the game, you reach low health, but you've got Striker stacks, so then you're healing back some of your health. But then when you're PvPing, you can reach low health again. So if you're reaching low health multiple times and then healing back from the Striker stacks, you're getting strike back multiple times, which is thus reducing the cooldown of your skills like multiple times. So this is actually really strong. And so, yeah, guys, this is basically my 6K Stam striker build, um, summed up in a nutshell. I want to do a 9K Stam striker build at some point. I want to make a video for that. And then you guys can let me know in the comments what else you'd want to see. I mean, I've got 9K Stam coming at some point. I need one more piece to be able to have both of those builds. I've also got Pred if you guys want to see Pred. We've got Tactician Sticky Bomb PvE based build if you guys want to see that as well. I've got a Reclaimer Healer build. Um, Hunter's Faith, anything. So I hope you guys took something away from this video. If you liked it, then drop a like. If you didn't like it, then drop a dislike. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys again in the future. All right, thanks.